Hey guys, today I'm filming the finale for my Project Tin Pan Winter Edition. If you guys did not see my intro or any of my updates, I'll have my playlist linked up in the cards. I'm so excited because I was able to use up so many products within this project and we're starting out the year strong. So I will start by talking about all the items I had left at my last update, and then at the end I will just give you quick thoughts on all the items I was able to hit my goal on within this project. So I was able to use up my CoverFx Illuminating Primer. This is a very nice hydrating glowy primer. I think it's fine, but as I mentioned before, my favorite would be the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. When it comes to a glowy primer, this is not something I would repurchase, but I enjoyed using it. I was able to use up the Estee Lauder Dibwear in the shade 1W1 Bone. So here are my markings from the intro. First update, second update, and I was able to completely use it up. So I had some really steady progress there. And this is my Holy Grail foundation, but it was the oldest in my collection, so I wanted to use it up. And I definitely will repurchase this. I just need to use up a few more. I love this foundation because it does give nice medium buildable coverage, has more of a satin finish, which I love. And 1W1 Bone is a decent shade match for me. It's very yellow, which is perfect, but it's a little too dark. So because this is something that's too dark for me, I do have to mix it, and I showed you guys last month the item I was using as my mixer, which is in my makeup use up project. I'll have that playlist linked up in the cards. That was the Hard Candy Glamoflague Mix In Pigment Drops. I know I didn't specifically put it in this project, but just because I mentioned it last month, I wanted to update you. I was able to use this up completely in combination with the Estee Lauder. You don't get very much in here. So Estee Lauder, I think you just get 1 fluid ounce, and then the Hard Candy Drops, you get half a fluid ounce. So that's why I was able to get through that one so quickly. And this is not something I enjoy. It's a really thin product that is good for lightening the shade of a foundation or darkening depending on what color you get, but it doesn't really give more coverage, so it's not something I would repurchase, but I'm very happy I got that used up as well. I was also able to use up my Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Concealer in the Brightener shade, which is a really beautiful pinky tone. This does brighten very well for me, but it is a little too pink on my skin tone, so I will not repurchase it, but I absolutely love this formula. I think it gives really nice medium buildable coverage. It is a really thin consistency that's very easy to blend out, and I absolutely love the applicator, but they just don't make a good shade for me. I also used the NYX Stay Matte But Not Flat Pressed Powder Foundation in the shade number 1 Ivory. This is one of my favorite powders. It gives great coverage. It does help keep me matte. This is a perfect shade for me. However, this is $10. I go through it very quickly, and I have other powders I now prefer, so I probably will not repurchase this one, but I would recommend it. And this next item is like astounding that I used it up. I finished Cabana Boy from theBalm. Now I was using this every single day, and it was up until the very last day that I got this used up. By the way, I'm filming this video on March 1st. Going up much later, filming it on March 1st. So as I've said, this is just a little deluxe size sample of the Cabana Boy Blush that I repressed into this Pixie Compact, and it is completely used up. I featured this blush, of course, in my different palette of the month videos when I was showing you my look, so you can see how it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So I definitely was nervous about finishing this up, but because I used it every day, and there were some days I did go a little bit ham, I was able to finish this. I love this blush. I would actually repurchase it in the full size because I think it is such a beautiful plummy color for the winter time. So I'm really happy I used that up, and like this was so difficult to use up, and this is just a little deluxe sample. It took the entire 3 months using it almost every single day. So I don't understand how people are able to get through full-size blushes. Like, kudos to them. And the last thing I used up would be the Lorac Alter Ego Lip Gloss in the shade Goddess. This did take me 2 or 3 weeks to use up, and I did take out the stopper so I would be able to get every last bit. This is a beautiful wearable pinky purple color. I really love that it felt very comfortable, very cushiony on my lips. It gave about a medium opacity. However, once this does start to wear away, my lips do feel a little tacky, and because of that, I wouldn't repurchase any of these because it's not the best formula ever, but it is still really good. and I do love this color, so I'd be happy to get another little mini of these to use up, but I don't see myself repurchasing it. And then I've got some progress to show you on some items. So I have these two items I wasn't able to finish that were just add-ins, so I'm totally fine. I didn't finish them. The first one is the NYX hashtag no filter powder in nude. This has been lasting me such a long time. I'm using this to set my skin today, which is great because my foundation was a little too light. This on top makes it a good shade for me because this is too dark, and this has lasted forever, so you definitely get your money's worth with this powder compared to this one. I absolutely really enjoy this one, and it was discontinued unfortunately, but this does actually give really nice coverage. It makes my skin look flawless, very airbrush. It isn't too dry or glowy looking. I've really come to love this powder, and it's discontinued, so that's how it goes. But I'm really grateful that my friend Jean sent this to me, and I've used it on and off, but I'm really grateful that I put it into this project because I discovered my love for it even more, and I will be rolling this over into my spring project pan to get that used up. I also was not able to finish the Mally Shadow Stick Extra in Autumn Shimmer. I knew I wasn't going to be able to finish it. I just wanted to track my progress, and again, unfortunately, I didn't track it from the very beginning. So this is where I was at the first update, second update, and now. So I did use a little bit less of this, and that's because since I'd already hit pan on all of my shadows, I was using some other things. I was using a lot more Palette of the Month shadows more often, so a little bit less progress, but I don't have very much left, and I think this is something that I want to try to finish up next year because this is a color I really just use mostly in the winter time. So that is all that I have left. So I'm really happy with all the progress I was able to make on that. And now I'm going to show you some progress updates on all of my shadows. So I have hit pan on all of these previously, but I have expanded the pan on all of them as well. The first eyeshadow would be Extra Creamy from the Too Faced Peanut Butter and Jelly palette. This is just a matte white I was using to set the primer under my brow bone. I've definitely expanded the pan on this one. I'm going to continue using this probably all year until I use it up because I don't really have a ton of other matte whites in my collection currently. This is good, but the matte white, Matte Malloy from the Balm Meet Matte Nude palette is so much better. So here is where I'm at with Strange from the Naked 3 palette. I have used up so much of this. I'm going to be rolling this over into my spring project pan as well to get it used up. I love this color. It's a good formula, but I'm not going to repurchase it. And for my other shadows, again, I did not show this one in my intro. I just started showing it in my first update, which was a bummer. This is a Makeup Geek Cupcake. I've been using this as my base transition color, and I do believe that I was able to make some progress on this one. I really do love that shade and formula so much. Then I know I definitely made some good progress on NYX Coquette, which is my other transition color. I do make the Cupcake a little bit more buffed out, and then I'll do this a little bit more concentrated. I did film a chit chat get ready with me using most of these products. I'll have that linked in the card so you can see how everything applied on the skin, but I'm really happy with all the progress I was able to make on this eyeshadow. I think it's a beautiful color, and it is a really nice formula. Then we've got Urban Decay Tease. So the pan is still tiny, but it definitely has expanded since my last update, so I'm very happy about that. And then we've got my lid shade, which is Urban Decay YDK. This has definitely expanded as well. Like, that is some crazy pan, so I'm really happy about that. So as I mentioned in the intro, these are two of the oldest eyeshadows in my collection. I've had them for a very, very long time, and I am not sure whether I want to get rid of these or keep them and use them next year. I'm thinking about getting, I don't know. I haven't had like bad reactions or anything, but just because they're so ancient, I've got my money's worth. I've hit pan on them. But I already have these in the Naked 2 palette, which is newer to me than the singles. So let me know what you think I should do. Oh, just throwing away some eyeshadows that I love feels really challenging. So then I'll just run through all of the items I've used up previously. So I was able to use up 4 deluxe size face primers in this project, which was insane. And I mentioned before, when I'm using more hydrating or glowy primers, I'm able to use more of the product than I am a pore filling primer or a mattifying primer. So I used up the Too Faced Hangover RX Replenishing Face Primer. It is too hydrated for my oily skin, so I would not repurchase. I have the MAC Prep and Prime Natural Radiance in Radiant Pink. This didn't color correct or anything like that. It gave a little bit of glow and hydration to the skin, but would not repurchase. Then I have the Becca Backlight Priming Filter, which I mentioned is my favorite glowy primer. If they have this during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty for half off, I will repurchase it, but otherwise I wouldn't, because even though I really do enjoy this one, it's not meant for my skin type and it doesn't work the best for me, but it works well enough. I also had previously used up the Makeup Forever Velvet Matte Skin Foundation in the shade Y205. I was using this as a mixer. It was perfect for that. This is a great shade. It's too pale for me, but it is quite yellow, so if you are more fair than me and yellow, this would be a good shade for you. This does give medium coverage, more of a natural satin finish. It isn't my favorite because I want it to be more mattifying and I want it to have more coverage, so it's not something I would repurchase, but I was happy to try it out more with this size of a sample. I used up the Too Faced Born This Way Ethereal Loose Setting Powder in the translucent shade. They do also have a shade for deeper skin tones. I really came to love this powder. It set my skin so nicely. My skin looked very flawless. It was a really nice shade, and this is something that I do think I'll repurchase. I love the Too Faced Peach Perfect powder for more of my oily months, but for the months when I'm a little less oily, I think I would like to use this powder instead, so I definitely do plan on repurchasing that one. I also used up the ColourPop No Filter Setting Powder in the translucent shade. This did absolutely nothing for me. It just set my skin. I did not enjoy this product. I went through it so quickly, so I will not repurchase that. I also used up the NYX Dewy Finish Setting Spray. I didn't find that this made me too greasy or oily or glowy. I think it was nice, but y'all know I don't love setting sprays. I would rather try out new ones than repurchase some of them, and this again is not perfect for my skin type, so I would not repurchase that. And the last thing I have here is the NARS Velvet Lip Glide in the shade Bound. This is a beautiful pinky mauve color. I really do love this formula. It gives medium to full opacity. It's really smooth on the lips. I definitely do see myself repurchasing this shade and also trying out other shades. So guys, I was able to either finish or hit pan on I think like 20 things in this project, which is amazing. I'm super happy with that, and I hope that the rest of the year will be just as successful. I will have my spring project pan intro coming up next, so get excited for that. I would love to know your all's thoughts if you've tried out any of these products in the comments down below. I would also love to know if you guys are doing any project pans currently. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys.